dancers and hear their stories. You guys ready? You guys excited? They worked very hard yesterday and today. By the way, that was amazing today, you guys. That was amazing.
Oh yeah, no, it was so far.
Yeah. You guys, so microphone instructions.
You're.
Check. Okay. You guys, this is going to be a very fun, casual conversation. And since you love casual, let's casually introduce yourself.
Hey, it's Wren, Sacramento native, Sacktown creative, Sac Efron's your boy. How much did you want to get into it?
Well, I would love to know how you describe yourself, you know, and don't just say I'm a dancer.
Got you. I'm a dancer, but mostly freestyle driven, just because that's where my roots started with. Funnily enough, I was at Capital Roots. My first dance teacher was Noel Abukai. He was a first turf dancer, or one of the first turf dancers coming out in Sacramento. So naturally, turf dancing was what I was gravitating towards. And so that's just kind of what I carried with me for pretty much the entirety of my dance career. And that's what got me started. And so when I say dancer, I do always think about freestyle first. But at the same time, I'm a choreographer. I choreograph for a studio out in Elk Grove. I also do choreography for artists, both national and worldwide. I do a little bit of dance directing. I direct a crew called Black Flag. We do live shows, we do videos, and so I hop into co-directing chair for videos, like music videos, but when we do live performances, I'm going and direct everything behind the scenes, from dance to lighting and story and all that. I'm also a teacher. Again, I teach at that studio out in Elk Grove, and then I teach workshops around the nation. And that's about it. So I hope that was a little bit more than just dancer.
No, that was very well described.
That was good.
Yeah, I like that.
Thank you.
That's good. How about you, Naya? How would you describe yourself?
Wow. That was a lot. that was kind of elite. Hey, I'm Anaya. How would I describe myself? I feel like this is the one question, besides him, that like no one knows how to answer. I don't know. I feel like I'm a human, you know. No, but like seriously, like I'm not just a dancer. Like I really like being just a human, you know. I wouldn't say I'm normal. I think I'm pretty weird, kind of outgoing, very expressive in and outside of dance. I'm very optimistic, sleepy all the time, but yeah, I'm good. I'm Anaya, yeah. Woo!
Yay, let's give Anaya a round of applause for being unapologetically authentic.
Okay, man. We take it.
And how about you, Kida? How would you describe yourself?
What's cracking? What's going on? You feel me? You're Kida The Great. I go by stage name Kida The Great. 20 years old. Born and raised Sacramento, California. Man, how would I describe myself? That is crazy. Man, I don't even know. I'm a funny person. I'm funnier than her. She swear I ain't funny. I'm funnier than her though. Man, just I'm really like for me, just like personally, I'm like a very like family oriented type of dude. Like family comes first with me. And man, it's really dance through and through for real. Like that's just kind of like really how it is for me. Like I don't really want to make it about dance for real, but it's really just like kind of that's really what I do. Like I damn near dance to express myself for real. So it's really just dance, man. I'm a cool person. I be chilling for real. I'm not a serious type of dude. Like I be laughing all the time in the serious moments. But like I'm cool though. But like that's me though. You feel me? Something slight, nothing crazy. You feel me? That's it.
Kathleen, how would you describe yourself?
I would describe myself as, I'm gonna be honest, I'm very shy. I don't talk, like talking is not my strong suit. I feel like I talk more with my dancing. But I kind of relate with Kida. I'm a very family-oriented person. I like to keep my circle very like close, and I mean I'm open to new people too. But I feel like I love the people that I like grew up with, and like the people that just helped me become me. And yeah, I'm a teacher. I love teaching. I love shedding light on people that I feel like I want to let them know that they have potential, and I feel like I like. What is that the sound? Am I doing something to that? Oh, okay. But yeah, I love teaching, and I love sharing, like the light, shedding light on other people, and I love like, yeah, I just love the little things in life. I don't know. That's just me. Yeah, that's it.
No, it's a good answer. It's a good answer. And guys, the reason why I asked this because the whole world sees you guys on social media, and that's the picture that's painted, right? For those that would see you, whether it's the first time or they follow you, their perception of you guys is your feed. But you guys are so much more. And that's why I wanted that general question to be, how would you describe yourself? Not what the world describes of you. And Anaya, that was the best answer ever. But for Phil, same question.
I said, easy. Okay, so just listening, thinking about it. I think I'm a person that likes to share. I think I like to share. I think coming up, if I'm with one of my friends or whatever, if I got $10, then my friend probably got $5 or maybe even $6. If we're going to Carl's Jr., you know what I mean, or wherever, they at least got half of what I got. And I feel like that's always been a part of who I am. Maybe it's a part of my upbringing. I'm also a family-oriented person. I don't think I can have fun if I'm having fun and the person next to me isn't having fun. That's not fun. If I'm eating and somebody that's next to me is hungry, that's not fun. If I'm laughing but the person next to me is not, that's not fun. So I've always kind of been that person to want to keep the party going or just keep things kind of lively. And I think that has to do with my family upbringing of just wanting to make sure that everyone's good around you. And I feel like a lot of people have poured into me, my elders, my parents, my older cousins, I have an older sister, and they've kind of poured into me, so it's just like natural that people poured into me, so it's natural for me to want to pour back into people. So to not be so long-winded, I'm a giving person for real. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Let's give it a round of applause. When I look at this panel, I see decades of generations, and all of you all have really interesting stories. But you guys all also have a similar story as well, which is, from what I see, is you guys were all born to dance. God put you on this earth and said, dance. And that is what you do. But there had to be a moment in your life, whether it was 5 years old, 10 years old, 20 years old, some of you are 20, but when was that moment where you were like, this is what I do, this is who I am, and this is what I'm going to continue to do for the next 20 years, maybe 10 years, maybe 20, maybe the rest of your life, but when was that moment when you realized, dance, that's what I want to do? So let's start with Kida.
Well, for me, naturally, I feel like when you're put in a position to provide for somebody, I feel like that's definitely like life-changing. Because I think none of us think that we would probably be where we are. So I feel like as time goes on and you put in so much work, when you're able to provide for your family and give things that wasn't possible back then, I think that's kind of what makes it important, and it's kind of like, okay, this is for me. Well, that's just me personally. I don't know how everyone else feels, but yeah, just kind of growing up and seeing where it took me in different places, and man, I never thought I would be teaching in front of 500 people, 200 people, 300 people. Like it definitely changed my life in a different aspect, to where it's like, okay, this is life changing, and I can do this for the rest of my life. And a lot of people, it's different, but I feel like once you're able to provide for your people, like my mom is in the crowd right now, like we didn't have some tough times. Like Sacramento, coming from Sacramento is like this small city, and we have so much talent that's not showcased. So I feel like once you come out of that and are able to achieve something and just be great, I feel like that's the stamp right there. So I would say that was probably a moment where I knew once I was able to kind of provide, then I knew it was gonna be something serious.
Kathleen, we talked a little bit about this morning, and you shared about that moment. Can you share with the crowd when you knew that dance was it?
I started thinking that dance was my thing. My sister actually was the one that started me as a teacher. She was like, can you make a dance for my sophomore rally homecoming dance? And I was like, oh sure. And I was in 8th grade, so the first students I've ever had were from high school, and I was scared, oh my god. But once I started teaching them, I was like, actually, I really like teaching and like my vision coming to life, because I used to choreograph in my room pretending that I was choreographing a team, and I would be like, you're gonna hold here and you're gonna be down for here and we're gonna do a roll off, and I wasn't part of the team at the time, but so I kind of manifested it. But yeah, and then even in high school when it was like freshman year, I wanted to make a dance, but I didn't have anybody really that could dance with me, so I just asked a few of my friends, and there was only like 3 other dancers that weren't even real dancers. And then after that, like graduating my senior year, I had 40 people wanting to join my team. Not like, it just like gathered over time, over my years in high school, and I didn't really have a direct, like, an official dance team that was in my school, but it just came together without me even trying. Like everyone's like, can I join for the next rally? And then I think when I started posting about that stuff, that got me into, that got the trust of Melvin and Greg at Chapkiss to be like, I trust that you're gonna be a good director. And like, so when they went to World of Dance, I was holding down the fort and like running all the teams and all the, like dealing with all the parents, and it was crazy, but I was like, actually, I can do this. Like, I think I can keep teaching for the rest of my life. This is kind of what I like doing. And yeah, that's my story, how I started.
That was good. I like that.
Thank you.
How about you, Wren?
It's kind of interesting because I love that you said we were all kind of born to dance. But it's funny because I actually really couldn't dance when I was a kid at all. And my dad was a little bit of a dancer. My sister was for sure a dancer. And they were always trying to get me to just like two-step or bob my head. But I couldn't at all. And so they were a little sad about it. They kind of just gave up, or at least my parents just gave up on the idea of me being a dancer. I know, but they put me in martial arts because I was hecka stiff and everything. And so they're like, oh, maybe you could like punch things. And so they put me into martial arts. And so they didn't give up on me like completely, man. You know, they're trying to find something else for me. They did. My sister was the only one that didn't give up on me as far as dance goes, but she just didn't try to push it because she knew maybe I wasn't really feeling it like that. I was about 9, and things like ABDC, America's Got Talent, YouTube was popping up, especially like Yak Film stuff on YouTube. That was popping up when I was 9 years old. And I was just observing and replicating. And when I was copying all that, and then my sister jumped on it, and she was like, oh, so you actually kind of like dance, and then she started teaching me. I know earlier I said that a turf dancer was my first teacher, but it was really my sister that kind of got me moving a little bit more. That was just technically my first foundational dance teacher. But fast forward, my sister opened up a dance studio. I was like 16 years old, and this was a studio more like on fitness stuff, right? So then you would have U-Jam, Zumba, fitness ballroom type stuff, and naturally the clientele there was a little bit older, And so they had a lot of youngins they had kids that just were kicking it on the side in the lobby looking for something to do. And so they were asking about classes that kids can do, like beginners. So my sister asked me if I would be willing to teach like youth classes that were for beginners. I personally didn't feel qualified, but I figured it was more just like babysitting while the moms were taking class, right? And so I took it up, and again, I didn't really think much of it, but then when these kids started coming back really excited to show me how much better they got at the stuff we were doing in class, that's what inspired me the most to, like similar to everybody else, they were talking about teaching was really what sparked that fire. And so to see these kids come back and be heck excited, I'm like, I realized I was kind of doing what my sister did for me, you know? Because a lot of these kids, they didn't really, you know, they didn't dance like that. And so to kind of get them inspired to dance just the way that my sister did, that was a pivotal moment for me as far as wanting to turn this into something more than just a hobby.
That's very cool. How about you, Anaya? You kind of come from a dance family.
Woo! Actually, I did not start as a dancer. I started off as a cheerleader from age 3 to age 11, and cheer was actually my first passion and my first love, and I already had plans for my whole life through cheer, and I was gonna die a cheerleader with my pom-poms. Like, bring it on, but it's fine. One day...
You knew that at 3?
Yeah, at 3, I knew it. I had a dream about it, and I was like, this is it. No, I'm just kidding. But, one day I couldn't cheer anymore, and my mom kind of threw me into dance within the next week or so, and I actually hated it at first. I did not like dancing at all. It took me a while to get used to it. I was so uncomfortable. I was the only one my age that didn't get it. Everyone else there already got it or was a few steps ahead of me, so I wasn't really feeling it. But after a while, I kind of just realized okay, we're in this. This is what we're doing. Let me start trying a little bit. And then it just helped me express more. I used to be really shy and quiet. And so the moment I started actually feeling dance and being able to be wait, first off, I don't hate this anymore, so work. And second, I actually feel something through this. I feel like that was my, okay, wait, let me take this serious. Maybe I can do something with this. And watching people on YouTube, like he was saying, being wait, they're so successful. I want someone to watch me on a video and, feel what I'm feeling right now through the other side of the screen, So I think just progressively moving through dance and experiencing it just helped me realize, wait, I actually love this. I think I kind of want to do this forever now. So, yeah.
Very cool. How about you, Phil?
What was the question?
What was the pivotal moment when you knew that dance is it?
Thanks for asking me the question again. I think, within my family, if you didn't know, I felt we're the Von Trapp family dancers, Sound of Music type vibes, watching musicals. My mom was definitely into musicals. We watched Mary Poppins, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, all that stuff. You get what I'm saying? Dick Van Dyke is to me a genius. And then my dad, he just had a really wide spectrum of artists that he would be playing in the house, from Prince to David Sanborn, Eric Clapton to Bob Marley. He would be playing any and everything. James Brown. It's just he's just listening to literally everything. And just at a really young age, my mom, she kind of really started to force me to dance in public, at family reunions and stuff like that. I think that's the main thing. It's no, Phil, dance. And I'm I want to dance. It's almost to where she's getting mad type of thing, because she's seen that I was already, copying New Edition, or I'm watching Beat Street, or breaking, you know what I'm saying, even New Kids on the Block, which fast forward, like, that's the homies, you get what I'm saying? And I grew up watching all these guys really young, and, but yeah, basically, in a nutshell, my mom, she's really just like kind of forcing me to do it in front of people, even when I didn't want to do it, and that kind of just like got me in the rhythm of like, all right, let me just do it, like wherever I go now, like it became normal, and that was probably like 6 years old. Did I answer the question?
Yes, you
Okay,
did.
great,
Thank you.
thanks.
Thanks. At 6 years old. You know, each and every one of you are amazing at making your own choreography and also performing other people's choreography. What is more exciting for you? What's more fulfilling? And why? Yeah, you have an answer. Yeah, what's more exciting for you? Or you can, go with it however you feel. Is it more exciting to choreograph, or is it more exciting to perform? And why?
Work. Okay. So in this exact moment in life, definitely performing is more fun. I feel for some reason, choreographing isn't new to me, but it's new for me to be in the industry of choreographing, so there's a lot of like pressure on it. It's kind of a stressful change, to know like not only are other people doing your choreo, but it's always like are they experiencing it how I experienced it when I was making it? Are they feeling it how I'm feeling it? Even though they're not supposed to feel it, I guess, the way I'm feeling it, but like, are they feeling it? Like that, or like someone's watching it, like are they enjoying it? Is it good? Do they hear me? Even through someone else, do they hear me? Like it's kind of stress, I'm not gonna lie. So definitely performing. I feel like performing was my pivotal moment, really. Just to perform and to make people feel what I feel, And I don't know if the choreographer that put the choreography on me felt all that stress that I was just talking about, but performing it definitely just brings you that moment of like peace in your brain, You're kind of just moving and experiencing and emoting, so yeah.
Did you say stress ball change?
Stress ball change, yes.
All right, like,
Yeah,
that was like,
Yes, stress ball change.
carried it to.
Yeah.
Not the question. Well, I don't know. That's a good question. I like both. Like for me, I always loved like entertaining people and just like making them smile and making them like just have a good time. So I've always been on that side. But for me, like my goal, when I get older, I don't know what. My goal when I get a little my actual goal is to actually be like a creative director. Like I want to kind of like just sit behind the scenes and just put on a flawless show without me having to perform and put a show on. You know what I mean? So I think it's pretty dope to I don't even know if I answered it. I like both, I think that's where I'm going with this. But choreographing's cool. It's just I don't know. Sometimes it's like it's a point to where it's like, okay, I think the process is the difficult issue, like to where it's okay, I get stuck here and but I think that's the beautiful thing about it, because once you actually take your time and create a masterpiece, I think it's basically people love it and they enjoy it as much as you do. So I feel like choreographing, I love just as much as performing. So yeah, it's kind of even in my book for real. So,
Kathleen, do you have a thought?
I definitely agree with Kida. I love making choreo. There are times where I'm just like, I just feel like giving up on this choreo. It's not worth it. But then sometimes you just gotta push, But I do see myself like making choreo for hopefully sold out arenas. Oh, I'm gonna manifest it. I'm gonna make some choreo for some sold out arena, you know what I'm saying? Okay, but on a real note, like I am very inspired by you. My cousins, they watch the Super Bowl that you were talking about earlier, the halftime show with Bruno Mars, on repeat for 2 years. So I'm always da-na, 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 like I know that choreo, and like they know that choreo, and they always this, that, I like know everything. So I'm just like, it's so crazy that I get to sit next to you and be like, yeah, this like I literally when someone asks me what's your inspiration, what do you want to do when you grow up, I'm like, I want to be like a Bruno Mars choreographer like Phil, and then I'm like, now I'm sitting next to you, I'm like, this is so sick. Anyway,
Yes, right.
but yeah, like I do see myself choreographing for more arenas. I love performing, but on the bigger scale of things, I do see myself in the background as well, just watching what came from my brain come to life on stage.
Yeah, let's give it up. How about you, man? Choreography or performing, and why?
I'm in 100% agreement with that, it being a balance. Not trying to sound too poetic about it, but like I do see dance as a conversation. And so there's a lot of times where like if I got something to say, I'm gonna say it, but social battery's dead when it's dead, you know? And so there's a lot of times where I won't have anything to talk about unless you take time to really listen to people. And so I kind of think about choreography and learning people's choreography the same way. It's like if I got something to say, I want to choreograph and I'll get that message across, but I'm gonna get burnt out if I'm not learning from other people at the same time and listening to other people. And so I think I definitely do need that balance, especially with the amount of output that we have to keep up with sometimes. It's like, if we're not listening to people, if we're not learning from people, then it's gonna be really hard to put things out and create on our own. And so I need both. And that's just kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah, I've known this guy for a very long time, and I've never asked you this question. Choreography or performing, and why?
Choreography or performing. I mean, yeah, I do enjoy both for sure. But if we're talking about the choreography part, that's like the journey part. You know what I'm saying? Because the performance, we do a set right here, we'll do a 5-minute set, that's 5 minutes. But the interaction when we're creating and vibing, the downtime, if we're showing up to call times and it's early, and hungry, and all of these things, like that to me is also a part of the choreography process because it's really the life part. And it's those individuals that I really enjoy being around. You get what I'm saying? Because I live this. You get what I'm saying? Like I've been doing this, and if you don't love it, it'll kind of show. And you know, just me doing this for you know some time now, like I basically wouldn't want to be around people that don't enjoy it like how I enjoy it. It's like really, it's like you messing up the vibe. You get what I'm saying? Like, so to answer the question, I would say yes, I love the performing part, but the choreography part is more to me like the journey. The performing, like that goes and that puts a stamp on things, right? And I appreciate you like with the Super Bowl thing. Like, yes, that was a dope moment to just kind of help define what I do, and like what we were talking about earlier when I was talking to the kids during the workshop. You know, processing like, oh, I'm about to perform without a mask. It's been years. Like, when's the last time that I did this? What do I do with my face? You know what I'm saying? And I was going through it, like what? And but yeah, so just you know, enjoying the journey, especially that you know that I've been doing it. Ren, you said you were 9 when ABDC? I mean, dang, bro, like how old were you when ABDC? 2008. Man, that's wild, you guys. Like I'm over here with. Wow, that's crazy.
So I mean, speaking on that note, right? 2008, we're talking Facebook. Well, the sort of the downward trajectory of MySpace. I don't know if you guys know MySpace. You've been on the internet since you're 2 years old, huh? And you know, there's the rise of YouTube, and then Instagram and TikTok. Here we are. You know, I've always been very curious about the sort of cultural value of social media and then also the cons of it too. And in the world of social media that you guys are all born into, essentially, how has that affected you in a positive way for your career and your personal life, and how has it affected you in a negative way for your career and your personal life? Kathleen, I think you have a thought.
Something okay. Yeah. For me, social media started when I was about, I want to say 8 years old. My sister saw Lil Bigs on YouTube. You don't know who that is? That's Isabel Capitulate. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, I'm such a fan, you know. My sister's like, we could do that. We can film you. So I'm literally in my room. There's literally no room. And I'm sliding in my socks thinking that I'm gliding. And and I have like my bunk bed's a mess and everything. And I have like Tweety Bird out. Like I was literally, it was such a messy room, but I was gigging. I thought I was doing something, which I probably was at the time. But that's kind of my first exposure of social media. But I think that social media definitely helped me get my platform, because posting my stuff, even when no one I thought was watching, where people were actually watching, especially like Instagram, helped me get my name out and helped me get jobs that I that would just come to me because people would DM like, can you come to China? Can you come here? Can you come there? I'm like, okay, cool, bet. The con though of social media is definitely, I feel like, the comparison part. I feel like my family definitely would be like, you need to post more, you need to post 3 times a week, you need to do this, you need to do that, and you need to comment back on this person, that person. I'm like, oh, this is so stressful. Like, it's a whole job, you know? So it was just so hard, because then my mom would be like, okay, yeah, this is real talk, but my mom would like circle the number like dropping. She's like, why did it drop? Didn't you post? I'm like, I did, but they just didn't like my material. I'm sorry. And so it's like a constant battle, love-hate relationship with like social media, you know? Like, it helped me get my platform, but now I have this like little subconscious in the back of my head that's like, you need to do better, you need to do this, you need to do that. So it's like, now I kind of have more boundaries for myself where I just don't comment back. And I love the love that people give me, but I just, sometimes I don't have the energy. But I do appreciate like the love that people give me. So yeah, that's how I feel about social media. It helped me, you know, there's pros and cons to it.
Mic don't work no more? Okay. Damn, it's all good. Somebody got a mic better? All right. Well, for me, for social media, it's crazy because I don't know if you guys know who the Art of Technique is. It's me, Juju, and Gavin. But it was pretty funny because like social media actually gave me my like first big break. It was, I think it was at Capitol Reeves. It was somewhere like years ago. I was like 7, 8, and it was funny because we was just all chilling in the studio. Like, this is when we used to just kind of be in there and just vibing for real. And like, I don't even know whose idea was to put the phone down and press record, but we were just like, let's just do it. So, mind you, we all kids just having fun, just, you know, just kind of playing around. So, put the phone down, we just started recording a video. We all just started freestyling, going crazy. And then this when Facebook was popping, you feel me? We threw it up on Facebook. And then it was funny because somehow, some way, I don't know how, but Ellen DeGeneres saw the video. So like, the video just kind of went crazy. And this is like on some just organic, just vibing type stuff, you feel me? And just how simple it can be for you to do that, and it can change the rest of your life, is kind of like just eye-opening, because it was just a regular video. We sat the phone down and just started vibing, and we were kids. Like, we didn't even know what we were doing for real. So that was definitely like a point in my career where it was like, okay, you know, this is something I want to do. And from that point on, it was kind of like I kind of turned into like a video machine, like videos all the time. Let's go, like just consistently. So I was always making sure, like for me, I'm a person that's built on like consistency. Like if you're not, to me, in my opinion, I feel like you have to be in someone's face at all times. Like if you're not you're not gonna continue to grow if you don't push yourself to do this or do that. Like, that's just how I feel, honestly. So yeah, social media has definitely played a big part in my career. In the cons, I would say, man, it's just so much, I would say just so much hate on the internet, man. Like, once you get to reading comments and once you get to doing this, and it gets your mind thinking too much, and you might just shut down. So I feel like just kind of just blocking out the negative, you know what I mean, that comes with social media. Especially at a young age, like, you're putting yourself out there in front of millions of people. So not everyone's gonna love you, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, you gotta kind of roll with whatever happens. So I would say that's definitely the cons, you know, kind of just seeing too much negativity and letting it get to you.
How about you, Anaya?
I was kind of hoping to go before you because you have a great story, but I actually hate social media. Like, anyways, I am not a big fan, but we'll start with the positives. So I think social media was created to share, essentially, and I love that about social media. I love, like, the videos that I watch, or at least I hate it for myself. I love it for everyone else. For myself, I love the sharing. I love the fact that, like, I don't know, I know sometimes you hear, like, dance teachers, so they'll be like, well, back when I was dancing, you couldn't even see a class was coming up unless you were at the studio or unless it was, like, written on the wall. So I'm so grateful that we can, you know, someone can share that they're teaching a class or share that they just taught a class, and we all get to see and experience it and enjoy it together, or share that you just went on a trip. Like, I'm so happy for you. I remember when you were talking about dreaming about going on that trip and you just went, like, you got to share that through my screen. Like, you know, I love that, and I love how funny people are, you know. I love the sharing aspect of social media. But I feel like that is lost, almost, at least in our generation. I feel like social media is now like a resume, or social media is like, I don't know if you guys have heard of a top 9, but basically when someone goes on your Instagram, your top 9 posts are what they look at. Say someone's like scouting for a job, they go based off your top 9. If you're not hot, or you're not fire, or you're not what they're looking for in your top 9, you get swiped to the left, you know, you get nexted, you know. So it's like whatever you post has to be top 9 worthy. It has to be up to par. It has to be whatever it is. And if it's not often enough, the algorithm, like, you're out of the mix now. So it's like rough, you know, but at the same time, it's, again, I want to just share what I have, and the love that you do receive on social media when you do share, it's so beautiful. It just reminds you, like, it almost like helped me gain my confidence in dancing, just sharing, and my family members or not my family members, or even the amount of people that want to follow me. I'm like, wait, you like what I do? You want to see what I post? You know, like, it brings you that, like, confidence boost, but at the same time, it's like, okay, well, if I don't post, then where do I stand? You know, like, where do I land? So that's my thing on social media. Unless it's something funny, then, oh my gosh, bring it to me. Okay, well, yeah.
I will say, though, that I watch your guys' videos, and it's a lot of fun.
Hey, you're a real one.
And I didn't realize that you guys were doing it on a frequency level. So kudos to you guys, because it looks authentic, it looks genuine. And Wren, you are very good at this social media thing. You are really good at this. What are the pros and cons, and how does it affect the pros and cons that affected your professional life and your personal life?
I agree with Anaya about it being a resume. I do miss when social media was kind of more social. Like, I remember when Halloween season came up this year, and I was kind of excited to see everyone's pumpkin patch photos. But I think those are nice. Popped on Instagram. It's past Halloween. I didn't see a single pumpkin patch photo.
No, that's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? Like, people would share their meals, whatever. You see it on the story sometimes, but you don't see stuff like that anymore. It's just content. But as much as we could talk about like hating on that, I do have to be real thankful for it, because me allowing to, or that platform or whatever social media platform allowing me to create a resume online has allowed me to work from SAC, which is a huge deal for me, and be able to take, you know, jobs out of the city, out of state, out of country sometimes, while living here. And what's crazy about that too is it's all while being myself, you know? Prior to that, a lot of industry work was based off of auditions or be able to basically do other people's stuff really, really well, right? And so a lot of the jobs that led from that was also how well can you do this rubric, you know? But being able to put myself out and make that my resume means that whatever job I'm getting is to be hired to be myself 100%, right? Like if I get hired for a choreography gig, I know that they want choreography that I've been doing, because that's all I ever put out, that's all they ever see from me in the first place, you know? If I get hired to teach a workshop, I know that they want me to just teach what I've been putting out. And so I do have to be real thankful for that. But man, y'all nailed it with the cons, man. The level of output that is required is crazy. Like, because most of my resume is built online, I do have to upkeep it, and it's ridiculous how much it takes a toll sometimes, you know? But not even just how much you have to put out, but like, I don't want to sound ungrateful for how many things are incoming as well, as far as inquiries, but there's a part of me that wants to take everything. You know, like all these brand deals that are coming in, all of the little promotional work, like I want to take it all sometimes. And that was extremely overwhelming to me, but I do have to be thankful for that too, and how that has been present kind of early on in my career as a dancer, because it taught me how to focus on my why and really be able to filter out exactly what it is that I want to actually take. It's like, okay, that's a cool little bag and that's a cool little brand, but does that kind of align with my, you know, my goals and like what it is that I want to portray myself as and what I want to achieve? That song is cool, they're offering a cool bag, but it's like, I don't really agree with the lyrics in that, you know? So like being able to kind of filter all that out has been super helpful in the toll that the level of output takes on us. And so, yeah, man, there's a lot of pros and a lot of cons, but at the end of the day, I just gotta be real thankful for all of it and everything that it's provided for me.
Okay, so incredibly talented and wise already. Okay, thank you for sharing that, Ren. Let's give Ren a round of applause for that one. Wow. How about you, Phil? Social media. Now, you know, perspective, guys. Phil built his dance career pre-social media on the streets, on having what we called back in the day juice.
Again.
And he has now just, you know, had to move with the punches of what's necessary and what's needed and what's required. So, Phil, social media, pros, cons, affected you, industry, personal.
I mean, social media, I think I missed the boat a little bit, like ABDC. I didn't even have a MySpace. When we were on ABDC, like, there was like, I don't know, however many fake accounts of mine. I didn't even have my own account. I just wasn't really, that wasn't a part of my generation, so it wasn't like, you know what I mean? It was like, just something that just was not on my radar. You get what I'm saying? So, it was never really my thing. And it's a different generation, because, you know, we're like doing the battle thing, or performing at cotillions, or performing at car shows. It was a whole different format. What I like about the social media thing was like when people started to even put out videos, like creative videos, like on Vine, when people would basically be doing like mini movies, like skits. I love that about social media. I love when people are able to curate their feed and basically show their world, because it is, you know, like a platform type of thing. It's a resume type of thing. Because you get a feel for, you know, what's inside people's minds by just even like, not even looking at one picture, but just as a whole feed type of thing. That really, for me, that's what I do, is I kind of zoom out. I'm not just looking at one picture. If you want somebody's thing, you can kind of see something if you zoom out. For me in particular, I dig that. I dig the creative parts about it. But the bad side of social media is it's the comparison. It's the comparison and the analysis paralysis thing. Us being very critical of ourselves. Us taking the good comments even and the bad comments, and we could be, let's check this out, right? Like, if somebody's giving you a compliment, that in itself might not even be a good thing, because you have to understand where they're even coming from. People have ulterior motives. You get what I'm saying? So, not necessarily, it's good to share good energy, don't get me wrong, but where I'm at now, it's like, if you feel it, if you like what you do, that should be the only thing that matters. You're not waiting. You shouldn't be waiting on the feedback. You get what I'm saying? Good or bad. You're doing that for you. But I think the people in this era, the younger generation, mind you, I'm not part of that social media wave. You get what I'm saying? But I think that's what can make this generation very critical. And me seeing that at my age, to where I'm a part of this world that didn't have social media, and then I'm still kind of doing the social media thing lightweight, I'm seeing what that's doing to us mentally, emotionally, and obviously that affects us even physically. So that's when I started tapping in with the therapist, and I started really trying to understand, okay, I thought I was supposed to put out my resume. I thought I was supposed to put out my highlights. I thought I was supposed to, everybody's trying to do their best, so I'm trying to do my best, and I'm gonna post whatever I think is my best. You get what I'm saying? And there could be people voting for you or cheering for you, but then that also creates that type of energy around you where it's like, oh, who does he think he is? Or what, you think you better than me type stuff? Or he think he's this, that, and the other. You get what I'm saying? And so it got all the way down to where it's like, man, I dang near kind of don't want to flex no more. You get what I'm saying? I almost want to do nothing, because I feel like it's kind of hurt a lot of people because I'm still coming up. You get what I'm saying? And that tore me up. You get what I'm saying? And all the way down to if you see people post and you, even with the meals, and don't get me wrong if anybody does that, but in this narrative that I have now, it's like, man, we're weaponizing even our food now. Man, you know what I'm saying? Your plate ain't, I got the shrimp scampi bust down, this, that, and you're not touching this plate. You get what I'm saying? And it's like, at least for me, I'm not trying to hurt people's feelings. You get what I'm saying? So it's really just been reflecting, why am I doing this? And it always goes back to that. So it should start with that and it should end with that. So that's basically what I don't like, is the comparison part.
For time, just to be mindful of that, I have one last question for this panel, but anybody in the room, do you have a question? Okay, so there's two people. I'm gonna ask this last question, and then we're gonna go to you. For you guys, for you four, what advice would you give yourself? Let's see, you guys are all 19. What advice would you have given yourself, your 18-year-old self, actually? Because now you guys are out of the house, essentially, on your own as adults now. Well, you're adults now, you guys, okay? You're adults, okay? You're legal age. When you hit that legal age, you guys have seen a lot of life. Your social media shows it. You traveling all over the world. You're traveling all over. What advice would you give that 18-year-old Wren, Anaya, Kida, Kathleen? I'm gonna start with Wren because I know you have thoughts.
I tell myself to just do way more stuff that makes me feel uncomfortable. I don't know, I'm sure y'all could kind of relate to this, but like, it was a lot more stress-free to take class or session or enter battles before people kind of knew who you were, right? And I never took advantage of that. Like, I wish I could go back and enter like 50 times more battles, because now, and it's not like, I'm not trying to say everybody knows who I am, not everybody knows who I am, but like, especially in SAC, right? If I pull up to a session, or if I pull up to a battle, people are gonna be like, oh, Wren's here, you're gonna kill it. And it's like, now I gotta kill it. And I can't just have fun anymore, you know? I pull up to a choreography class, and everyone's like, oh, Wren's here, you gotta kill this. I'm like, no, I'm not. My pickup's actually terrible. It's actually so terrible. And that's why I wanna go take class, but it's like, and I know that's not something that I should be letting weigh on me. But I'd be lying if I said that the expectations don't kind of get to me sometimes, especially when everyone's like expecting a lot. So whoever, wherever you are in your life, like don't take advantage of, or don't take for granted the time that you have right now to just fail a heck of times without the expectations from everybody to be crazy dope. And that's something that I definitely regret. Like don't wait until you're super tight to do stuff. Do it now.
That's good advice. How about you, Kida?
What's the question?
What advice would you give your 18-year-old self, 18-year-old Kida?
A year ago, Nah, I'm just playing.
Yeah, but your passport is crazy from the past year. I love it.
Man, advice I would give to my 18-year-old self. Shoot, I mean, this is probably like the most simple answer, but honestly, it's just, man, just keeping God first, man. Like, throughout everything. Like I said I'm very like family oriented. Like I don't know where I would be now without my family. Like I would, especially being in the industry so young, like you can literally just come to a point to where it just feels like nothing. You know what I mean? So the fact that I have my family around just guiding me, keeping me grounded throughout the whole thing, it's a blessing, because like I said, like just growing up fast and putting yourself on social media to where there's millions watching you, it can get frustrating, it can get tired, and you can want to stop and just give up, but just staying grounded, man, like that's the only advice I would give myself. Like just staying humble, keeping God first, keeping your family around, keeping your loved ones close, and just keep pushing. Like my pops, before he passed away, left a note in his coat pocket that said, keep praying, keep planning to keep pushing. So I just live by those words every day. So like that's kind of like my motto. So that's really my only advice I would give to my younger self.
Give it up to Kida. That's beautiful. How about you, Kathleen?
Some advice I give my 18-year-old self is to not shrink myself. I feel like there was so many times that I would be a people pleaser and I would just say yes, everything. I didn't know how to say no, and I would just not go with my gut. So then it kept me in this little box thinking that like, oh, you're not cool enough to be doing something that cool. You're not cool enough to be doing something like, trying to do something crazy, Like in my gut, I'm like, I want to do this like big project. So I had this project that I didn't touch until like 2 years later, but I could have done it then, and I think that I definitely cut myself short, sold myself short, or whatever. I don't know how you say it. Sell yourself short. Thank you. But yeah, I definitely wish that I stepped out of my comfort zone when my gut was telling me to, because I had a lot more creativity flowing then, and then later on in life, I feel like the voice in my head kept on saying like, no. Like there's this, again, the subconscious that's telling me that I can't do it, but in reality, I know I can. So like, I wish I just practiced telling myself to just, stop people pleasing, just go with your gut, just dream crazy, And I think I would tell my 18-year-old self that, and to lead with love, because instead of comparing, I would just want to like do what I want through love, you know? I feel like I grew up being told like, oh, you gotta do better than this person, that person. I'm like, honestly, if I'm just loving what I'm doing, the outcome is gonna be so much more like beautiful. So, yes, that's what I would tell my 18-year-olds.
Let's give it up for Kathleen. What about you, man?
So I think some advice I'd give my 18-year-old self. So when I was 18, that's when like everything started like pretty much changing for me. That's when everything started like really taking off. But I would tell myself to start finding the human artist balance. I think around that time is when the dancer really started taking off, or the artist really started coming, you know, she started coming around a lot, and she was very important, and every human moment I was having felt like it was just mistakes. Like it was just the down bad moments, it was the down and outs, you know, rather than the human moments that I did have I wasn't appreciating, so then it would just take tolls on me, and then I'd have to be a dancer, you know, have to perform, have to put on a face, you know. I wasn't finding my balances, and it never seemed okay to be like, I don't want to dance, I want to be Aniyah. Like, I don't know where she's at, you know? So now, that's important to me, and I'm still, like, shoveling through, you know, now, and the dancer's so far ahead, the human's so far back, and I'm, like, running, trying to catch up, so I wished then, and maybe even sooner, I would have started focusing on the person behind the artist, you know, and finding that balance of grind and fun, you know? Be young, be a human, be a person, and not just think everything you're doing is bad or a mistake. It's learning, you know, and it's okay. So, yeah.
You just give it up for Aniyah. Wow. And Phil, what would you give your 30-year-old self?
That's the second blast today, man. It's been blam after blam.
Sorry. How about your 21-year-old self? And it's, you know, for these guys, they're around there.
I mean, you're asking them what they would tell the 18-year-old selves, and some of them was like literally 18, like literally 1 or 2 years ago, right? During COVID. I mean, you talking about like top of the pandemic?
Yeah, like literally 2 weeks after it started.
And to me, the top, when the lockdown started, that felt like 2 weeks ago. To me, you know what I'm saying? Like time flew that much. What would I tell myself? Before I get into that really quick, you, all 4 of you at your age, the youngest being is, Aniyah, are you the youngest up here? Kida's the youngest? You 20? You guys are so articulate, right? And I'm just like, I'm kind of taken back really quick. I don't mean to take too much time, babe, don't get mad at me, but I think it's because you have been throwing yourselves into the fire, I guess you could say, and just kind of figuring it out. Because really, as dancers, it's not like it's like, oh, okay, if I'm a dancer, then I'm gonna just be extra rich just off of dancing. That's not really like necessarily like, especially at the time, you know what I mean? Like back then, like it wasn't just like, you should go try to be a doctor or something. Being a dancer is scary, basically was what I'm trying to say. But the fact that all of you, we have like just led with love. Like, you know, the game is kind of loving us back. And I think that's dope, and I think it's so amazing how, like, you know, how much game you get. Like, please make some noise for them. No, it's really dope. It's really dope. It's really dope. I'm damn near about to shed a tear. Like, look at you guys just talking about. It's crazy. Mama Tanisha, like, he's like, what? He was like 8 going on 40, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that also speaks to how mature, and it's not about age. Also, I realize it's not about your physical age. You know what I've been learning, especially like having to do with ego, and your ego, your identity, how you develop between the years of 0 to 5 is like a big part of your foundation as to how you look at the world. And the fact that, you know, you guys have been leading with love, you've been loved on, and not waiting, basically, even being 20, I could look at you and then see like a 45-year-old person and be like, no, like basically Kida or any one of you could be really more mature than a 70-year-old person. You get what I'm saying? So I've learned that, and it took time for me to learn that it's not about the physical age. You know, I've always been raised to respect my elders, but then I've also learned that, hey, just because this person is 99, this person still kind of might like mentally or emotionally be like 12. You get what I'm saying? So you don't wait. Like be confident in your maturity and keep pushing and navigating and breaking down all those barriers. Like it's amazing. So you know, props to you guys for real. I didn't answer the question, but yeah, it makes me work.
No, you answered the question. Really
Did I?
Thank you. Yeah, beautiful.
All right, cool.
We have a question from the audience. Let's go to you, sir.
Hey, so you guys are the current generation, and you guys are, because you're active, you're relevant, and you're innovative. Do you feel a need or obligated to study the original people, the hip hop godfathers, you want to call them that, in order to be a better representative of hip hop? And do you also see an obligation to lay the foundation for the future, for future dancers? So as a dancer, you're expressing what you've learned by observing, and as a choreographer, you're creating for the future, right? So you truly are in the middle. Experience and learning, and then innovation, and how am I going to add to this? And then how does social media affect that, where you're like not really doing what you want to do, but doing what the algorithm wants you to do, right? So, yeah, so the question is, do you feel like what you're doing right now has to transcend and you owe it to other people? That you need to have that knowledge to be a true dancer and choreographer. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's not just dancing. There's a lot behind it. What's behind it for you? How's that?
Yeah. You guys get the question?
A little bit.
I guess to clarify, are you asking if they feel a responsibility for
having to represent the past,
right,
having to lay the foundation for the future, when all they wanted to do was dance.
right? So, do you guys feel then a responsibility and an obligation to acknowledge the past, those that have paved the way, and to be mindful of what you do today, for as what you do today will potentially transcend for the future? And if you haven't thought about that, that's okay, but if you have, feel free to answer.
Yeah, I think that's extremely important, especially if you're going to be tweaking any of the OG styles. We got to know where it comes from and the legitimacy of it. I think that, for example, everybody on my crew, Black Flag, the minute we start learning a new style, or I guess the minute we start trying to use a new style, before we start teaching it, before we start putting it into choreography that we're going to put on other people, we try to source it from the OGs. So, for example, when I started trying to incorporate crump into my stuff, made sure that properly trained under the right people, became a little homie to a big homie in crump before I started incorporating it. One of my homies, Wade, he got into light feet a little bit, wanted to put into some choreography, but before he did that, he wanted to make sure he tapped in the right people in New York. He traveled to New York, learned from Mr. YouTube, got the okay to start using it, and so like from then on, it was okay to start working with it a little bit, right? And so I do think it's important. I think it's kind of similar to like how fashion, you know, like vintage stuff is going crazy right now, right? And a lot of brands are just replicating vintage stuff, but there's a little bit of beef in that. in the whole fashion world and fashion industry, talking about how they don't really, a lot of these brands don't take the time to really acknowledge what it came from and what it meant to people who actually wore it at the time and how practical it was. And so I think of it the same way, and I'm not sure if I answered your question, but
Yeah, it was an indirect question to see how you felt an obligation to be respectful before taking it and playing it. But Chicago football, it's like, oh, I saw a video, I'm gonna do it now.
right.
No, you gotta go and really talk to the creators and really honor it and then grow.
Right. Same. That's why I'm really glad I tapped in with Phil, man. You know, so big shout out, because that's where a lot of the water comes from, as far as what I do. So thank you, Phil, for even just like, you know, tapping in with me. And,
Love, bro.
Yeah,
I
blessings,
appreciate
man.
that, for real.
Yeah.
Appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate y'all.
So for time, we can leave space for one more answer to address this gentleman's question, and then we're gonna have to wrap, guys, and take a break. So I think Anaya, let's have you close that question up.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think he answered the first half of your question on knowing about the past. And so, to speak on social media in the future, I think that it almost makes it more important to know about the history and the past and the cultures that came before, because our generation and moving forward, it's consistently changing and so quick, and I feel like it kind of gets lost in the sauce, because it's like one day it's this, the next day it's that, and something's a trend, but then it's not, and then it's this, and then it's that. You know, it's so hard to almost keep up. Where with like everything, I guess, you have to stay rooted. You know, you have to know your foundation. You have to have somewhere to come back to. You have to stay grounded, and especially for those watching us, if we don't have an anchor, it's like, where are we going? What are we dragging along? What are we showing them? You know, where's the history? Where's the story? You know, it's kind of just like, all right, this is this. All right, run with it. You know, if we don't have any foundation, any center, then our future is nothing. No, just kidding. So yeah.
Let's give it a round of applause. Let's give a round of applause to the panelists, for our first dancers. Thank you so much, guys. And that's a wrap for this panel.
Make some noise.